36 inches, it's not considered a handrail, I think it's considered a guardrail, so it'll have to be 42 inches. That might not align up with your existing, but that's a code. That's not us, that's the code.
The building department will be telling you that.
I guess so. Yeah.
She's real close, I want to say. You're really close. I think at 2'10", like if you drop down 2 inches, it could be at 34 inches to 36. So you may want to talk with your builder about what's code and what's the height, because you're real close to that mark, just to let you know.
Okay.
So, and also railings also have it to where like a 4-inch ball can't fit through. So, the other with your probably have screening, you know, doesn't matter. But if you have just the X, you know, you can probably put a volleyball through that sucker. So,
Yeah.
That's not to code either. So work with your builder about what's to code
Okay.
on the railing and the height.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the audience to speak to this project? If there's no further discussion, I would ask for a motion on this.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve as submitted, provided that Ms. Rhodes works with her contractor, making sure that railing and other aspects are to code.
All right.
May I ask that you do it as presented so we can incorporate the discussion of the skirting material and the potential use of the vertical 2x2 pickets?
Did I say presented?
You said submitted.
I was wrong. I amend my motion as presented. It's only Tuesday and it's been a long week.
All right.
As presented in the rest of the stuff I said.
All right.
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? All right. I know you'll enjoy that space in your backyard.
It'll definitely add some space. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, next. Chandra Arthur, Garden District, 1339 South Perry Street.
Hello.
Hey.
So I sent you guys a long a long essay, actually.
Are you Chandra?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. About why I need the privacy fence. And essentially, my new neighbors, or I should say the people that live next door, have been trespassing on my property in lots of ways. And in March, I saw the husband looking through the window in a very uncomfortable way, and so the privacy fence became more of a necessity than a nice to have. So I had it put up without knowing that I really needed a permit, so apologies for doing that, but it was really just like a matter of urgency. And then once it got up, I realized that it's actually too short, so it doesn't actually do the job of creating the privacy, which is why I have kind of like cafe curtains in the window now too with the fence, so it's quite ridiculous from the inside looking out, but it's just kind of what has to be there for now so that I can live comfortably in my space. So yeah, that's it.
Questions from the board?
I would note that because there was some confusion in the discussion we had before the meeting, that the fence in the photos is 6 feet tall.
Okay.
So you're not looking at a 12-foot fence there. It is a 6-foot fence, which she decided was not tall enough to do what she wanted it or needed it to do. So you're looking at a 6-foot fence in that photo.
And this is not part of another fence. This is just, what, 50 feet long and 12, you want 12 feet high, freestanding.
Yeah. I also want it moved to my actual property line because if, I think there's a photo in there that shows the survey. There was also some discrepancy about the property line, so the people that live next door were debating where the line was. I can't remember where the photo is, but I think I included it here. It's, so behind, there's maybe another, I don't know, half a foot or something, but I need the fence actually moved in the right position because it's too close to the house as it currently stands. So again, I mean, construction and these types of things are not really my ministry, so I'm not the best person to like draw out a plan. But again, having the fence put up was really necessity. It wasn't something that I even wanted to have to begin with. The former neighbors that lived there, I never even considered having a privacy fence because I didn't have any issue with them trespassing on my property in any way. But since the new people have moved in, it's just been not pleasant.
What is the minimum height that would achieve your goal?
I think 10 foot would be fine. 12 foot would cover the entirety of the window from the inside and outside, but I think 10 foot would be fine.
Have you ever talked to your neighbors?
Talk to them
Yeah.
regarding?
Just say hello, you know, niceties, you know, neighborly things.
We had actually a pretty good relationship last year about Halloween. Last year, I was over there, we were handing out, well, actually eating candy together. The relationship was fine until the trespassing on the property, and then when I asked about it, they stopped speaking to me. So, and I tried to address them about it. I've tried a few times, but they're not very receptive, so.
Ms. Arthur, I understand your need for request for the privacy fence, leery of 12 feet. That just seems excessive, and to me, it would be concerning at that height. And I heard you say 10 foot would be your request. That's still high. Just want to go on record saying that I think getting over 6 feet, you know, is gonna just look awkward.
Well, could you go to the other photos in there? I've taken photos from the inside of my house so you can see that the 6 foot fence,
So the photos are in the packet that I sent you all that, just to kind of,
the 6 foot fence provides no privacy. It's almost like not having a fence there. And again, as I said, I just had this done it was more reactionary than really well thought out. But once the fence was up, I realized that it didn't really provide any privacy at all. So.
So what about supplementing, having a 6 foot fence and maybe putting, crepe myrtles or some type of vegetation in there that would give you more?
They still take a long time to grow up, and
Yeah.
I am living in the house right now, and I don't want to have the invasive stares or looking through my window from my neighbor, period, at all. And I feel like vegetation would be lovely, but it still takes a long time to grow up and is not going to provide the solid wall of privacy that I required or I want to have to live in my house. I'm a single woman. I don't have anybody there to go and talk to the people that live next door, and it's like I should be able to live in privacy in my own home without worrying about someone looking through my window. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
And you are correct, Ms. Arthur, and I would recommend if you've got someone trespassing on your property, you dial 911 immediately.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the height, and I have a problem, it's hard to call this a fence because a fence is, in my mind, something that contains or divides an area, and I understand that this is to block the view, and I can understand that. This is more, in my opinion, of just a wooden wall.
Yeah.
It would accomplish the purpose if it was high enough. Have you considered shutters?
I have curtains up. I have double curtains. I have liners inside. I have curtains out, liners and then the regular curtains to close. But I do like to have natural light. And so I, again, would like the ability to be able to open my windows without my neighbor looking at me across my dining room table. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Like I said, this is not, I'm not a person who's a general contractor or could tell you different ideas and solutions. This was a reactionary move to be able to feel comfortable in my own home. And upon having it up, I realized that it's actually not the best solution because it doesn't provide the privacy that I actually need, which is why I'm requesting for it to be moved to the right place and to be heightened.
So you said that they come onto your property?
They have multiple times. There was.
So if you have a 6-foot fence, that would keep them from going on your property?
It's not just about coming, it's about looking. And this feeling of like someone constantly looking over into your windows.
So I think it was determined in what is said every day when we have this meeting, is we're not here to be the fixers of neighbors, you know. We are just here for what's best for the neighborhood look and view. This
Sure.
has come up before, and we cannot fix neighbors.
I understand
And we
that.
don't want fences to be a detriment to the neighborhood because there's issues.
I
Now,
understand that.
if someone is coming onto your property, it doesn't have to be a 12-foot fence to keep them from coming onto your property. Now, the other issue, I mean, the houses are so close together, that's going to happen whether it's this guy or the next guy. I mean,
Well, it didn't happen
happens,
before.
you know, all these neighbors are that close together, but we don't have 12-foot fences everywhere.
Yeah, but there are some 10-foot ones in the neighborhood that have been done really nicely. My neighbor Wes also has like a 10-foot, it has a lattice at the top, it's 8 feet, and then like some lattice work at the top. And then also I know Trinity Church also has a really tall, it's a brick fence actually. I really just want to live in peace, and I don't want to have to be subject to someone's perversions. And I think, I know that this is not, you guys are not jury over what, their eyes, but I think it's a very reasonable request for someone who is taking good care of the property just to be able to live in privacy. Like, I'm not asking to paint the house fuchsia. I just want to be able to live in privacy.
But when we allow you to have a 12-foot fence, who's not to say that the guy next to you doesn't want one, the guy next to you wants one, and the guy next to you wants one, and becomes that. You know, we've got to look at that whole situation.
Sure.
More than just your situation.
Is there a way we could meet in the middle, even 8 or 10 feet? I feel like we can come up with a compromise, but as it currently stands, the wooden partition, it's not really a fence to your point, does not serve the purpose of privacy as it stands, which is why I'm here. So it's like, if it's going to be that, I may as well take it down.
But it does serve the need of them not walking onto your property.
Well, and me not having to see them because I have the fence and the cafe curtains and the privacy curtains and the curtains over, which is a lot of work when I think an appropriately height fence would do the job as well.
But you'd be looking at like a wall.
I'd rather see that than them looking at my dining room table. If I'm sitting at my table with a sports bra, I don't want to have to see my neighbor looking through and waving at me. And if he would do that during the daytime, no telling what he would do at night. And I don't feel comfortable as it currently is.
So a fast-growing or a larger tree along with the 6-foot fence would work with you?
I mean, 6 feet does not suffice.
No,
It's currently 6 feet.
I'm talking about a tree or a bush or
I mean,
some evergreen objects that are like at 12 feet tall. Those are purchasable.
Sure. It's just, again, an additional cost that I hadn't really considered in terms of planting greenery. I mean, can do it, sure. But I still have to live there for the year or 2 or 3 or 4 that it takes for the vegetation to grow to the appropriate height.
So you buy the appropriate height.
Huh?
You can buy them at the appropriate height.
Yeah, sure. Just, again, more costs for me, but sure, yeah.
So these are things that, again, we have to look at it for all of the neighborhood and not just a singular case. And there's other ways to develop a screening device.
Yeah. I think considering the circumstance, like I said, I had no necessity for the fence with my older neighbors. I would have never had to put it up to begin with if I could just live there in privacy and in peace. When the fence is moved in the correct place, I did plan on planting some sort of ivy or something to cover it so that it is more aesthetically pleasing. As currently stands, it's just a wood partition. But I also don't like looking at a wooden wall looking out of my window, so I recognize that it's not aesthetically what it should be for the garden district currently. But my issue, I'm more concerned with the height as opposed to the aesthetic for now, so.
Well, again, I have a very big problem with it. I think something, again, I mentioned shutters. Shutters can have louvers. You can open it, have in light if there's a problem. You can shut them where no one can see inside. Of course, you wouldn't be able to see outside, but again,
The issue is the height or the material of the fence for you?
the height and the fact, again, that it's just a freestanding pine wall.
As it currently is, again, that was reactionary to just getting something up. I think it can be worked with, like the ivy can be planted, it can be moved on the property line, which is where it's supposed to go. I actually didn't put it on the property line to begin with because I knew that they would contest it. So I put it inside of the brick, in the packet you'll see there's like a brick little partition that was built before. So I actually had the fence put inside of that because I didn't want to hear from them about me being on their property line. Now that I've had the survey done, I know where the fence should actually go. So I was planning to have Allied Fencing come back out, talk about getting the updated height boards and putting it in the right place so that it does actually look like more like a fence as opposed to a partition.
How tall is the brick wall?
The one that's currently there,
Yes, ma'am.
it can't be above 2 feet. It's a tiny, tiny little, the one that's between our properties, the one that they're building in front of their house is like 6 feet.
All right, I might have a solution for you after after we take audience comments.
Is there anyone here from the Garden District to speak to this? I thought I'd ask for people. Oh, I'm sorry.
Laura Calloway with the Garden District Preservation Association. Given the totality of the circumstances and the fact that a wooden fence can easily be taken down as well as put up, we don't have a problem with the fence that exceeds 6 feet. 12 feet might be a little higher than y'all would want to go. But if a solution can be devised that the board is comfortable with, then we're not going to object to a neighbor putting up a fence that they feel like they need.
My name's David Lanich. I live in the Garden District. I'm familiar with, because I walk every day on Perry, and I walk Perry, Gilmer, and Hull, and there's no 10-foot side yard fences anywhere in that area. I can't see how a 12-foot high wall is consistent with the character of the Garden District. And it would seem to me, as some of you have pointed out, the issue that's being addressed isn't solved by building big
For
walls.
you, for me, it is. For
No,
you.
excuse me.
Please let him talk. It's his turn.
All I'm saying is some of you have mentioned, if there's an issue of someone improperly looking through a window, there's remedies for that other than a permanent structure, whether it can come down or not come down. While it's up, it impacts the character of the neighborhood and the historic nature, and it's inconsistent, so I don't see, in reading what the report here says, it's a variance can't be justified in this situation. There's other remedies if you feel someone is invading your privacy, and I don't think the answer is what's being asked for here.
This is very difficult for me because I want you to be comfortable in your home and feel like you're comfortable in your home. And I can understand why this situation makes you feel uncomfortable. But my job, unfortunately, is not to make you happy. It's to decide what does or does not affect the character of the historic district. And while we have some tall fences and some tall walls, excuse me, in various places in the district, they're really not much taller than this, and certainly not any taller than 12 feet. 10 feet or 12 feet would be considered a very high fence, and usually those have only been allowed in the backs of buildings where they're really not seen from the public way. My second feeling about this is that it needs to be a fence, so that it needs to like come to the front corner of your house and turn and look like a fence. It's seen from the front, so it would need to be painted or stained so that it looked finished, and it would be better if it had some kind of like lattice panel on the top or something like that, so that it was really dressy.
Sure.
And in that respect, I think it would then be a better neighbor to your house and also to the whole neighborhood.
I mean, I would just say in response to that, this was never the long-term solution. This was a reactionary move to be able to walk around my home in privacy. So I recognize that and agree that as it currently stands, no, aesthetically, it is not, I guess, equivalent to other fences that you would see. But if I'm able, the first step is to get the permission to have it adjusted and then built out properly the way that it should be. So I agree with that, and I'm totally happy to do that. But I would think from a just reasonable perspective, I don't think it's right to, I don't know, force someone to deal with the invasion of privacy, like for aesthetic purposes. I think that that's a bit much.
Well, my house is a driveway width away from the people on both sides of it, so that if we're both washing dishes in the kitchen, we're looking at one another unless we close our blinds. And
I think it's different. If I was married and had a partner and had felt more secure, then sure. But as a single woman, it's very like not comfortable to look at an old man looking at you through your dining room in the broad daylight.
Well, I have plantation shutters on my windows, and the ones on the one side of the house, the formal side of the house, go all the way up, and the others go halfway up, and then just the top is open. And but it's taller than anybody would be, you know, unless they were standing on the window frame, hard to do. It would be hard for somebody to look to our house that way.
Sure.
And I'm comfortable with that. I hate for you to have walled yourself into a situation where now your only view from your dining room table, although you feel confident about it, what you're looking at now is a wood wall.
I'd rather see that than him, to be honest, if I'm honest.
That. Yes.
And not to belabor the point, because I know that there's someone after me, and just to be considerate of time, it's like people have got to get home to their families. I'm quite happy to make an adjustment to the fence, you know, based on you all's recommendation. If we can get around 10 feet to add lattice work to the top, whatever makes sense, to add vegetation over it, I want to make sure that I'm able to live in privacy, but I recognize your concerns. They are valid, but I think with the permission to put the fence in the right place and get it extended to the right height, I'm happy to design it or make it aesthetically compatible with what's in the garden district.
Ms. Arthur, did you say that the brick wall is within your property?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. In the packet, there's a line on the, you'll see the survey line drawn out with the stakes, because I took several photos.
So,
Okay. I think John was going to speak to that.
yeah, so in this specific case, I would be willing to approve an 8-foot tall fence.
Okay.
And I think you could put the 8-foot tall fence on top of the wall,
Sure.
and therefore give you roughly 10 feet that you're looking for.
Yeah.
I would ask that the fence terminate back into the front corner of the house, though.
I'm sorry, do what now?
Would you be willing to terminate the fence into the front corner of the home?
Turn it
Oh,
in,
sure.
run it in.
Now,
Versus just having
we have generally asked people to return the fence further back so it doesn't look like you've got a fortification all the way
Okay.
across. So at some point behind the front corner.
So a foot from the corner, something like
That's
that?
up to y'all.
I would also say that my HVAC units are back there, so the only accessible way for them to be serviced is to go along the side of that house. So I guess a gate or something if I okay, perfect.
A gate would be fine.
Would that help solve your problems?
That would be great, yes.
All right. My motion then would be for the board is to approve an 8-foot tall fence for this home, terminating roughly a foot or two back from the front corner. to be painted or stained in appropriate color.
Okay.
In a what color? Painted or
In
stained?
an appropriate color.
A quiet color,
A
darker
dark
color.
green or a,
taupey sort of colored.
Like the house
House color.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the house looked brighter. What color is the house?
I don't know. It's
Color.
an awful stucco job, but you know. you
We're
take-
just saying like a dark green or something that's more in keeping with nature.
Okay, sure. I'm less concerned about the color and more concerned with the privacy, but that's fine. That works.
So I'm kind of concerned that you're not concerned about what the fence looks like, because that's what we're concerned about. All you're saying is about the height, it's gonna do this, yuck, 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 yada, yada, yada. And oh, it can be taken down anytime, but the problem is, once it's there, it's there. I mean, we can't assume you're gonna take it down when you get new neighbors or whatever. How long have you owned the house?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could stay there 20 years and that'd be considered temporary to you. So we've got to look at all these things. What you're saying doesn't matter, it's what is.
No, I
In- in
understand that. I just,
point.
what I'm trying to communicate that maybe I'm not doing a
I
good job
think
of.
you've communicated it quite
Oh,
well.
okay. I'm not saying I don't
I
care
don't know
about the
if we've
aesthetic.
communicated to you our position.
Sure. I'm just sharing my priorities, more my
And-
privacy
and so
than
are
the
we.
color.
And so are we.
Sure.
All right. Did you make a motion?
yes, ma'am, 8-foot tall fence, stained and terminate back in near the front corner of the home.
Second.
All in favor?
1, 2, 3.
All opposed? Right.
I think,
Motion does not carry.
all right, so you're talking, as it stands right now, it's still not, maybe I'm not understanding it, but you're going to extend the, whatever this is, which direction, toward the front of the house?
No, she's going to turn
To the-
it so that it connects, make a 45-degree, I mean, a 90-degree angle and turn the fence or the wall into the house so that it looks like a fence.
Could I make a motion to push this to next month so we have a better idea of what kind of fence we're talking about, what it looks like, how it's going to fit, and how it terminates towards the house?
Miss Arthur, if you, I'm sorry, I'm a visual kind of guy.
Because there's a
I
lot
think-
of unknowns.
I really don't have a whole lot of problem with what they're saying, but I would just, like, I know the 4E is kind of the overhead of your yard. It's got the drawing where I think the current fence is. If you could, kind of work with that and let me know where this fence is going to go.
Sure.
If I think I know what they're talking about, and if it's what I'm thinking, I don't think I have a problem with it.
Okay.
And then you can, keep the fence, or do whatever adjustments you need to do. But
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, if we push it to next month, we'll have all these unknowns quantified.
Right.
Also, I believe you're going to have to go to the Board of Adjustments as well to get a fence higher than what it is. And I'm not sure if putting an 8-foot on top of a 2-foot is allowable.
Okay, so,
So I don't know, it'd be a great
I don't know.
idea.
well,
So-
just so I'm clear, so the 8-foot fence put in the right direction above on the brick is that what we're going to talk about next week? Just next month with a plan?
Yeah, and I think I would also get it clarified through the Board of Adjustment that that's allowable.
Okay. Who are they? I'm sorry.
Oh, you've been emailing Tanya
Okay.
about the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, gotcha.
And I don't think that will be a problem
Okay.
because
I've had that come up as a problem before.
I think
so.
it's, they'll determine if that wall is at grade
Right.
and determine the height variance from that point.
So I just think there's too many unknown quantities. We're just hearing about the issue and not the resolution
Okay,
of the fence.
so in terms of discussing it with them again, it's up to you to define what the revised package is going to look like.
Okay.
So there was a motion, did you make that a
So
motion?
I'd like to make a motion to table this to next month so items can be quantified and in a better set of documents.
Second,
And how it terminates.
second again.
Can you give me a specific, I guess, list of what you're requiring so that we don't have to push this to November?
Yeah, we can do this after
Okay.
the meeting so the next person can go.
Okay.
So Ms. Arthur, I would say also that, contact Ms. Anderson. She's heard our comments, so she can help you understand as well.
Okay.
So, motion,
I seconded it.
Elizabeth? That's where you come in.
All in favor? Opposed? Is it passed now? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Linda Cavassa, Cottage Hill, 422 Herron Street.
Good evening. I'm Lana Cavassa regarding 422 Herron Street tonight. Hey, the parapet wall is down, and at our last meeting, you all asked that we just use a straight picket metal fence, which I submitted, and I'm agreeable with that, so I'm not sure what we're here for tonight. Maybe you guys have questions.
Well, I think we wanted some drawings, renderings of what you were going to do, not just what you're going to use.
I submitted submittals for the fence, for the white picket fence. That's the placement where the fence goes.
Christy, do you think everything's okay?
Is Dennis out there? He's at the okay.
Can you go back up to 5B?
That's no longer there. That was the parapet wall that you all asked that I take down.
Okay. But we don't have an elevation now of what this looks like with the railing on it or anything? Or where we have a plan? Or are
Well,
you going to have
If you come down to the drawing, if you can come down, I don't remember what number it was.
5F maybe?
Mm,
I mean, I say a plan view, 422 Herron Street on 5F.
That's the supplement, that's the specifications for the picket fence. And then if you come down, there's a drawing that shows right here, a placement of where the picket fence is to go.
And you don't have to have a stair coming down from that?
No stair coming down.
Okay.
So this goes right there.
Yes.
And how does the rail attach to the parapet or attach to the roof?
There's a deck, there are deck boards up there.
So it's going to be screwed down? with
Yes,
those?
sir.
Okay, thank you.
when you use the deck boards, and make sure you've got a way to let the water come off the side, so nothing like,
Right.
falls
There-
apart again.
Right. They end, and there's an existing drain system that's built in up there.
Okay.
On the one of the next pages, probably 2 pages on 5H, we've got original and proposed. I see what that drawing is. I thought you were saying the back porch was proposed, but I thought it was there. No.
That was what was originally there.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Is there anyone from the audience to ask questions about this project?
Joey Brackner from the Cottage Hill Foundation. I'm really here kind of to find out more about what is intended. The board, we discussed this. We're happy that you are interested in this property, and we want you to be successful. We also want it to proceed and be an enhancement to our neighbors. It's a very prominently placed structure and a very well-known structure. So really, I guess I'm here to say, we even are okay with the deck part of it, with the gable removal. A lot of our board members, people who are more architecturally inclined than I am, have some issues with the type of railing that was proposed, but there was a disagreement there in that they felt they weren't sure they had a bigger picture of the whole project to even, have an opinion about that. So I guess I'm here to say that we would love to support you. We hope that you'll work closely with the ARB every step of the way so that this will enhance the neighborhood, will proceed, will look good, as I'm sure it will. So if that, makes any sense, or if you have any questions of me, we're a pretty active neighborhood organization. We'd love to have you as a new neighbor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else? I just felt like there were some missing pieces to this plan. I mean, broadly speaking, maybe you have some of the details you're focusing in on right now. Like the drainage issue and that kind of thing. But a broader plan, I think the neighborhood would love to see, more detail on.
Well, there are built-in drains that are inherent in the roof system. The problem is that there was a dead valley that gable created.
Yeah.
So it, of course, had water coming in the house.
Good.
So the main issue was to stop the water from coming in and to preserve the house.
Okay.
At the corners of the fencing up there, would it just be that fencing all the way around? Sometimes, there's like little posts that come up.
They're posts, yes, ma'am. They're posts, and then there's a 6-foot section, and then there's a post and a 6-foot section.
Okay. Is the post shown to us anywhere?
It's in the specs, I believe.
Because I see the fence portion, but not the post, and that's, I think, part of the details maybe worth
Let me
talking
make
about.
sure.
I'm pretty sure I submitted it. Now, I don't know if we could go back to the page maybe that's got the specs on it, I could look and see if it's on that. If not, it might be omitted.
It references a post.
In the overview, that
2.5
There's-
2.5 inches by
talks
2.5
about it.
inches.
Okay, so it's a 3 by 3 by 3.25 foot post, and I missed it because when I printed it out, it's white on white, and it didn't show up,
Yeah.
so. But it's a square,
Like a little 3x3, would it have like a little ball on top or something like that?
Just plain.
it's got a square cap.
Katie also says 36 inches is the height of the rail. Is that?
I'm thinking that code's going to make it 42.
Well, that's under the International Building Code. 42 is for commercial and 36 is for residential. Now, I don't know if the
What's-
city's got a different code.
Sure, what's the purpose of this building?
I'm sorry?
What is the purpose? What's the use of the building?
It's a residence. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it's my house.
I think at even houses, it's 42 inches when it's over a certain height. I would verify that.
Yeah, sure, I'm happy to verify it, of course.
Well, according to specs, it says actual height inches 33. Common height inches 36, so is
I think the posts are 36 and the sections are 33. It's just a standard section and standard post.
It would have an open space for like the toe area.
underneath.
okay.
Did Cedric have to leave?
He did.
Then number 5.
He was supposed to be somewhere at 5:30.
Okay.
He is
I'm
late.
sorry, I didn't know that.
Supposed to be here at 5:30.
Well, Lana, we don't have enough people to vote on this now.
Yeah, we do.
5.
5? Oh, I thought it was 6. Okay.
Are you not counting yourself, Madam Chair?
I'm probably not counting myself, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. In fact, that's exactly what I was doing. I think that I'm having the feeling that my spouse has when I am explaining what's going to happen. You've got all the pieces down here, and still I am a little uncomfortable that everything is going to turn out like we said. I'd be much more comfortable if I had an elevation drawing of what this back area is going to be, and since you're a building professional, that should be something you would be able to provide.
Well, I'm not an architect.
Well, I'm not either, but I could do that. Are there any other questions about the project? Is there anyone prepared to make a motion, please?
Well, I'm like you. I mentioned it before, ma'am. I'm kind of a visual guy, and I think I know what you're going to do, and I don't really have a problem with it, but I don't know, because I don't think the drawings that have been presented really illustrate what we need to see, which is a finished product.
Well, I've given you the specs, which you asked for. You asked for a white metal fence, which I've given you the specifications on that. I have given you a drawing that shows exactly where the placement of that is going to be. I feel like I've done everything that you all have asked.
At the last meeting, they asked for drawings that could be sketches or CAD drawings or an overlay of a photo that your contractor indicated he could help you with. And that has not been submitted.
Well, you have a drawing that shows exactly where the location of the fence that you all proposed is going to be placed.
I guess we can look at 5B, which is a photograph that has white solid wall there and imagine that that is a metal.
Did I not submit a photo with a picket drawn on it?
You
No.
did not.
No.
I thought that I did at the very beginning, and
That was not to scale. There's one in the folder. Do you want them to see your Sharpie pickets?
I mean, if they need to envision what it's going to look like with pickets on there.
Well, if it's not to scale, I don't know if it would, is it something we looked at last month?
Actually, the only one I have has X's on it.
Right, because
It's a
we
different
were
pattern.
thinking about mimicking the porch below, but then it was commented that they would prefer the straight pickets.
And this is
You
on
you know, I
this is on
really
Sharpie.
worry about the hazard of leaving an open deck like that, because there are a lot of homeless people, and I really don't like the liability of keeping a deck up there with no railing on it.
Well, that is an issue that you created, not this board.
Well, I had a parapet wall that would keep anybody from falling off.
And you didn't need to remove it until you got approval to do additional work either.
Madam Chair, I'm with you. I think I'd love to see some further drawings, maybe an elevation or something showing the placement of the rail, and I would move, yeah, we've asked the audience, I would move that we table discussion until next month, when hopefully the presenter can provide a drawing, an elevation drawing.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, I'm sorry to ask you to come back a third time, but this is an important building. And I'm also, think about that 32-inch high rail, which I'm a short person, and on me is short enough for me to walk up to it, and it hits me at the,
But the rail is not 32 inches off the ground. The rail itself is 32 inches, and the posts are 36.
right? I'm just saying, that's a height that's easy for a person who's even 5'2" like I am, to be able to fall off.
I mean,
You
I
need to
have
get
no,
something that's
I
gonna
have
come-
no problem with making it 42 inches.
Just check and make sure what's required and make sure that the drawing reflects that.
Is that all?
That's all. Thank you.
I think,
It's just, it's,
My parents have a deficit.
all right. The minutes from the last meeting? Do I have any comments or corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?